This is a quick introduction to sentencing guidelines. The application opens with just some information about the current release, current judicial version, and any enhancements or bug fixes that we've included in the application. The key part of the application is really the index of offences. So we have an index by group, by page, A to Z, and index by Act of Parliament. In preparing for a day in court, we can use our court listing to highlight any particular offences that we're expecting to deal with within our normal court listing. Ticking a yellow star against an offence marks it into the favourites, allowing us quickly to get back to a specific offence as we're going through our court list. Viewing an offence, we can also highlight or make favourite from that offence. Double-clicking will zoom into the offence so you can examine any particular details. Pressing the Done button takes us back to the source index we were last sitting upon. We can also make favourite any particular explanatory material we might need to refer to. So, for example, if we're referring to ancillary orders or binding over, we can make these favourite. They will appear within favourites here. We can also see they are favorited specifically in explanatory materials. Now the same follows for chairmen who may wish to make a specific pronouncement a favourite. So if I'm looking for perhaps a discharge, absolute or conditional discharge, I can make this a favourite and view this from my pronouncements card. This allows a chairman to both look for offence favourites and specifically the pronouncements they need to manage in court. We also provide the court bench books, adult, family and youth court. And again, these can be made favourite if required, then appearing within our favourites pop-up. We also have at least some basic probation information, such as the probation bench book and bench guide. And then within the application, I can also choose to add through iTunes specific documents that I've received from my Justice's clerk into the application for reference in court. So having added some documents through iTunes apps data sharing, if I just refresh my documents list, we can see a list of additional items I tend to take into court to assist with my court hearings. So for example, there's a letter from our senior presiding judge discussing the use of IT in court. And also I have other items such as HGV overload. I can make that favourite. And perhaps a note about the calculation of fines and search warrants for justices. So those three My Documents will appear as specials or favourites unique to my court hearing. Just running along the bottom of the other buttons, we have dates for court adjournment. We have the guideline fines from our pronouncements book. Fines calculator, which allows you to calculate based on 350 or benefits for A, B, C through to E fine, with the ability to set costs, add in compensation, and if you need to on your bench to take off any rounding we've done for that particular fine. We can also adjust the starting point, and also modify that to a weekly income specific to our defendant and the fine being taken. We have a drink dive rehabilitation data calculator whereby we can select for example, a hearing that's been heard perhaps a few weeks ago. We can adjust the period of disqualification. And there are 3 different systems being used in our courts: months and days, weeks, and Vernon Manfield Consultancy Limited provide their own calculation routine. And finally, we can click on here to just refer to that rehabilitation advice from that screen. And finally, we have history, just showing the offences I've just gone through, and I can go back to any of these if required. And finally, just to cover some of the settings within the application, settings for the fines calculator and DDD, and to clear favourites and history are stored within iPad settings. So we close the application, we go into settings, and we can see within our applications sentencing guidelines. To clear our history, we simply select that item, select which DDD calculator we're using, and configure the fines buttons that we saw within the fines calculator. And if you have a local practice of doing your own rounding on the bench, you can turn off the default rounding setting. And finally, the enable toolbar allows you to automatically clear the helper bar on the top of the offence guidelines. And we'll just give you a demonstration of that. So we've set settings to clear our history and to auto-hide the toolbar. We'll just restart sentence guidelines, just jump into an offence, and as soon as I click on the image, you can see the top toolbar has disappeared. To bring this back, I can simply click at the top or the bottom, and I can clear that item. And you can see history only has those couple of offences I've used for that quick demonstration. Favourites still exist. One final piece of customization, a request from a Birmingham magistrate. We've added into the application my document called Mode of Trial, which you can customize by modifying that file, and this appears specifically for cases heard at the Crown Court, plea before venue, and mode of trial. But this file from my documents could contain any particular data you wish to customize for your application in court. Thank you. That was a quick run through sentencing guidelines.